Hey guys, now I'm going to start adding some paints to my card. I think I'm going to add little stars, just teeny tiny stars, just to kind of break up that white space a little bit. Again, using different sizes and just to kind of add a little bit more of a kind of trickle down effect. Okay. I'm only going to paint the inside of the bulbs because I want to leave the background a little bit more simplistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some reds and violets, even some red violets together to start in my palette, just to get those colors prepped. And I'm going to make it look, I'm going to try to make it look three-dimensional as well. I'm going to try to move this over so you can kind of see a little bit better. I know this is not ideal video setup, so you can definitely use YouTube to look at different resources for people that have far better equipment to record these types of things. And they're probably way better artists too. That's okay. I think the more resources you have, the better. All right, I'm going to add in some purples and kind of keep my palette simple. So the first layer is just going to be a wash, more or less. And I'm going to leave the white of the paper where I'm going to have my highlight. If you have heavier watercolor paper, you're going to notice that you can add lots of layers. If you have thinner, you're going to notice that you're going to need to work with a little bit less water, so that way the paper doesn't want to warp as much. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my second layer, and I'm just going to kind of push some of these colors around by rinsing my brush out and just adding water to kind of guide those edges so it's not so dark in one space. I'm going to come in with more of my violet tones and let the watercolors just kind of bleed and blend together on their own. Watercolors always dry a little bit lighter. I can even go over my highlight just a little bit as well. If I make a mistake, I can take my brush and dry it off, and then I just grab my kind of scoop it up like a mop. I'm going to come in with some pretty drastic darker tones right there, but I'm going to allow the watercolors to just bleed. And I'm going to come in with a little bit more of that darker tone just above that highlight too. If I need a little bit more red, I'll add some more reds as I see fit. But you're starting to see how it will take shape. Okay. There's one. I'll do two more real quick. Okay, you're going to start with a wash. Leaving my highlight totally just white, the white of the paper. Pushing some watercolors around. Now that's a little bit smaller, so I want that to dry a little bit before I put my next layer on. So I'm going to come and do the third bulb real fast. And then I'm going to come in with my darker tones just to give that little bit of a shadow. Bring that shadow up on the opposite side too, just ever so slightly. And there you have it. Instead of reds, you could do any color. The idea is that you want to get highlights and shadows all at the same time. Oops, sorry. So that way you can see the dimension take shape. Okay. I always like to do handwritten notes, and then I'll always kind of do my signature on the back. Not my signature, but probably cheesy, but I always do handmade by or with love.